What's up, ScoonTv family? Coming to you live from the nation's capital. Little vintage go-go in the background for y'all. I actually remember when this was popping. Or like they say here, this was cranking. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got war with Iran, war with Venezuela. It's looking kind of crazy. But we got 2 more minutes before the official start. I feel it. Another death jam. Hey. Moment, assalamu alaikum. I got a little go-go kicking today. What's up, Kev? Definitely a C. Definitely a C. I agree with that, Kev. He just approved the tomahawks going to Ukraine. So it looks like there's going to be an escalation on that front between the Tomahawks and the F-16s. It means they're like in strike distance with nuclear weapons against Russia. I wonder what that talk with Putin is all about. Let me send out some tweets and wait for more people to join. We're on multiple platforms. If you're not a member, consider joining. Visit ScoonTv.com every day. Check out our exclusive articles in our town hall section and our exclusive documentaries. The latest, Zohran Mamdani, Manchurian Candidate, the making of a Manchurian Candidate. It's very well put together, very well researched. And support the site. Download the app. We're doing a lot of work. We're getting things done. We're getting things updated. Because in a little while, what little independent media there is out there is going to be the primary source of information. Another death jam. So what you got a gun for? What's up, William Colton Evans? What's up, Cheech? School 29. Are we on it, Kev? I mean, what time is it? I'm gonna give it another 2 minutes before we officially start. Let some more people come in. The day I play go-go, Peter don't show up. I played it just for him. He's the DC native. That's right, Colton. Oh, this is a classic joint here. Rare Essence. This is from May of 1989. The dude, Fat Rodney, actually got killed outside the go-go, I believe. These are wild times out here. Oh, John C., the connection is bad. Oh, man. How's the connection for everybody else? Well, that's that. Let me make sure we good to go. Oh, yeah. HCF Generals meet and recap.
What's up, ScoonTv?
Oh, okay. One second, team. Where is the audio? Mic. Put it in the pocket. All right, I'm back. Let's get it going. What's going on with the world today? Like I said, we got the Russians saying that the United States has crossed a line with Russia that we can't return from by sending the Tomahawks to Ukraine. Is that just hyperbole or is that for real? You know? And what does that mean? The Russians, they have their Oreshniks, or their missiles, hypersonic missiles. I believe they go up to Mach 5, something to that effect. It looks like they're ratcheting things up for war. Trump is sending back all the Venezuelans that came during the Biden administration. He's rounding them up. That's not a good sign because it means we're probably going to be doing something with Venezuela. And he doesn't trust Venezuelans who just recently arrived in the country, who aren't legally here. I mean, you can understand that. I can't, you know. Not that I agree with everything Trump does, but these are tough times, man. And I want to believe, because of all the illegals, undocumented, who have come across the border in the past four to 5 years, there's no telling who's here and what they're up to. And I suspect that the move to put troops in U.S. cities, they're saying it's for crime, but I don't think it's for crime. The police can handle crime. We have enough police officers. They're equipped. They have the intel. They have the informants. They have the weaponry. However, there may be sleeper cells in our major cities. And rather than tip his hand, I believe the troops are being positioned for the eventuality of when those sleeper cells awake. That's just my thoughts. I'm not predicting it. I'm not wishing for it. That just seems more plausible than using National Guardsmen to conduct police activity. When I see the National Guard and all they're doing is walking around, making their presence felt, they're not really, you know, I guess their presence is supposed to be a deterrence. And I don't mean just for crime. For other people's, for other bad actors. What's up, Darnita? News is dead. Yeah, you know, so there's that. But there's just so much going on. This shutdown, it's looking like it may be the end of Obamacare. And I don't know how a lot of you guys feel about it. You know, I know the healthcare industry, the insurance industry, they're not going to like it because a lot of people were forced to buy insurance. Oh man, Mark Sanchez, I'm getting on that. Yeah, a lot of people were forced to buy insurance. Prior to Obamacare, I always assumed that people who didn't have insurance would just, you know, sign up for Medicaid. You know, I never heard of people being denied services. The hospitals had people, administrative people, who were very skilled at getting you Medicaid or getting your bills paid. Sort of like colleges, universities, how they can get your tuition paid. You know, these type of entities, they have personnel who know where the money's from, know how the paperwork has to be filled out, and they know how to get it. So I don't think there was a deficit of people getting treatment. But we'll see what happens. Now this Mark Sanchez thing, yes. He beat the crap out of some guy, an older guy who was driving a truck. The guy stabbed him 3 times. It looks like Mark may have been intoxicated, high, something, but he wasn't in his right state of mind. And whoever he was beating on, I mean, I don't blame the old fella. When I was younger, all the old guys kept a little blade on them or something. They're not trying to go muscle for muscle with you at all. Mark looked pretty, you know, it looks like it's bad news for him because I don't know if he's been charged, but they were talking about charging him when I saw it this morning. Maybe he's been charged by now. Yes, Glasgow, I see your chats. I do. I absolutely. Have I seen the 911 doc that Tucker did? No, I did not. I did not see that. Tucker's been doing a lot lately. He's been doing a lot of talking against Israel. Again, I'm not pro-Israel, I'm not anti-Israel. I kind of like just focus on local things that affect my immediate community and leave those things that are above my head for the people who make moves above my head. Because I don't really know what's going on there. You know, but when I see Tucker and Candace Owens going full on anti-Israel, it doesn't seem authentic to me. I want to believe that people of their position, with the kind of money they have and everything else, they wouldn't do something like that unless it was approved. Because they got a lot to lose. You know, people who got a lot to lose, they just can't talk recklessly. And these people are saying a lot of things. I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree. You know, there's always some truth to everything, right? I'm just wondering why now. You know, Candace, her metamorphosis is kind of fascinating because she came on the scene talking down to black people, black men in particular. You know, and I criticize the black community, but I also do a lot of work in the black community, you know. I employ people, I do philanthropic stuff. I got skin in the game. I just think that somebody with a white spouse who doesn't do anything in the black community but criticize it, I think maybe that's not the best judgment, you know? Yeah, it's not looking like you really with the black community. I think the people who can and should criticize the black community are people who are active in the black community, who are actively trying to address things and improve things. If anyone is qualified to criticize, it would be those people, you know. And I just always felt when I heard Candace Owens speak that I was hearing the thoughts and words of a white conservative man. And in fact, those are her biggest fans. White conservative men like Candace Owens more than white conservative women. You know, that's her base. White conservative men. And she sounded like one when speaking about the black community. And then she has a feud with Ben Shapiro. And then the French president's wife, Brigitte, whatever her name is, Macron. Yeah. And now Netanyahu in Israel. It's amazing to watch. I mean, again, not that I agree with the things that she's saying, but it's kind of refreshing to know that she's not just criticizing black people. In fact, she doesn't mention black at all anymore. You know, think about that. What a pivot that was. Now, Tucker's a whole different ball of wax. Tucker gets access to Vladimir Putin, world leaders, some very smart people, and everything Tucker is doing now is anti-establishment. And Tucker's talking about mysticism, spirituality. He's talking about all of this stuff. I remember when Tucker used to wear the red Kabbalah string around his wrist. And the reason why I'm bringing all of this stuff up is because I don't know if the intent is to inform people, confuse people, gain their trust, to betray them at a later time. But I think people need to be very, very careful about anyone who's trying to direct their thoughts. You see, I never tell people who to vote for, what to believe, who to pray to. I do none of that. I share information, and hopefully with the information that I share here and information people get from elsewhere, they can come to, their own conclusions about whatever that matters to them. Because everything that I say can be researched. What's up, Clarence? I don't know about them being real billionaires. I don't know. I know that they're around a lot of money. I think they got like very expensive lifestyles. I'll give you an example. Like someone that I know someone that has a private jet. And I forgot how many thousands of dollars it costs for every 500 miles, something to that effect. Whatever it was, the number that I was told was like to fly from Miami to New York was like $35,000. This was a couple of years ago, right? And it must be more now because the dollar's losing value. But think about that. Think about having a monthly expense when you got properties, high-end properties in Miami, in LA, in New York. Some of these places, the mortgage might be $30,000, $40,000 a month. So you're spending just on utilities, overhead, easily $250,000 a month, right? Easily. That doesn't include your leisure activities, your wardrobe. They buy expensive stuff and they can't be seen in it more than once. They wear it one time. I don't know what they do with it. Give it away, send it to a thrift store. I don't know. But they shop all the time. They spend a lot of money. They go out to eat, everything. They're spending thousands the way the average person spends dollars. The point of it all is that it's an expensive lifestyle. It really is. And also, when it comes to the endorsement deals, Clarence, did you ever think maybe they don't have a choice, that they're told what to do? I mean, I don't even believe that the house that Diddy had in LA that was on the same block as the Playboy Mansion, I don't believe that was his house. I think they get loaned a lot of things. I saw where Mary J. Blige was homeless. You know, because she lost a lot of money, made some bad decisions. And she defined homeless as not having your own home, which technically is correct. It doesn't mean you're living in a tent under the overpass. But while she was homeless, she was staying in one of Jimmy Iovine, the head of Interscope, one of his spare mansions. I think a lot of these people live in somebody's spare mansion. That's what I think. You know, like they're like, you know, and I don't want to seem like a hater, man, but they're like whores, man. Like a pimp will dress his hoe up. She'll be living in a nice house. None of it will be hers. Not the furs, not the jewelry, nothing. But if you see her out, you be like, damn, why is she doing all of that? Because she don't own anything. And that might be the case with these guys. Not to the same extent, but to a large degree. You know, I don't believe they get paid all that money to play basketball, football, or any of that. You know, all money comes with strings. So when they get those contracts for $100 million and $500 million, there's things that come along with it. I don't believe Rihanna's a billionaire. I don't believe any of this stuff. I work hard to make money, and I can tell you, it ain't easy. People think it's easy because they see these people, and they pursue a false blueprint. Now, I'm not a pocket watcher, but just based on how difficult it is to make money and compete against people who've been established and got way more money than you, way more resources. It's tough. Even if you happen to slip through the cracks, you could be like Bob Johnson with BET and be forced out. And they got enough money to pay you to get out the game. Because ultimately you cannot compete against the machine. It's their machine. So yeah, LeBron's signing off with Hennessy. Hey man, I hope he likes it. He'll probably get a lifetime supply of it. Oh, you love the vlog on that New York candidate. Thank you. Yes, Glasgow, I see your chats. Old dude already filed a lawsuit against Sanchez. Well, he should. Sanchez looked pretty strong, man. That guy, I only saw him from his chest up, but man, he looked like he was he looked in his 50s and frail. And his face looked bad. He got a deep gash on his face. My rant, school, and cats on Twitter are legendary. Hey, man. Tucker definitely has fed. I'm leery of all of them, Glasgow. And just because they're saying true things don't mean that, I'm ready to get on board with everything they're talking about. The devil will tell you the truth 9 times, but it's the 10th time that you didn't fact check is where you end up losing everything you got. That's the basis of what they call the confidence man. In short, the con man. That's how they get your trust, by telling you the truth and then slipping the line where you least expect it. The piece on Mamdani, yeah, listen, man, Justo, what's up? Yeah, me and News was going back and forth on that. I don't trust any of these people. People think that Mamdani is just randomly, shaking the table. Are you kidding me? There's no way. He's one of their own. Most people don't even know that a lot of the academics abroad are working in an intelligence capacity. Now, I'm not going to say all of them because I don't know that. But it has been shown to be a cover for intelligence assets because they come around the people and they're not educating them, they're indoctrinating them, they're identifying, they're recruiting. Journalists is another profession that happens in. Everyone knows about ambassadors, but the academics and the journalists, they're able to penetrate deeper, especially the academics, because they're in a place where the brightest or the most intellectually ambitious congregate. They come, and the academic can get their recruits there. You know, people don't think it's crazy that Barack Obama's mother was 17 in a Russian-speaking class with a African man who was like 30 years old, recruited by the intelligence agency at the height of the Cold War. And then after him, she's with the CIA's main man in Indonesia, Lolo Sotero. You think these are all coincidences? No, they're not. Like, where did she meet him at? The hookah spot? No, these are arranged marriages, relationships, all of that. I was looking at something today in Sierra Leone, I think it is. The president's daughter just had a baby for a wanted drug dealer from the Netherlands. He and his family, Interpol is after them. Sierra Leone is obviously a transshipment point. And listen, the guy's Dutch. He's white. He's Dutch, right? He gets to Sierra Leone and somehow he's hooked up with the president's daughter. She got this nasty synthetic blonde wig on her head. And they had a baby. And this guy's sending his drugs through the country to Europe like 100 miles an hour. Like, none of these things happen coincidentally. And that's why when we want to be in these rooms with these people, we have no idea what's in the room. Like, do you even really want to be in that room? There's so many conspiracy theories on Jews. I have met some that fit the stereotype. Me too. I'm gonna tell you, man. I was talking to Barrington online today, Barrington Martin III, and I saw that he was a guy that ran for John Lewis' seat in Georgia, and he had the absolute highest number of votes against John Lewis. He lost, but he did have the most votes. And when John Lewis died, they gave it to somebody else. So he feel a little, little rejected, scorned, if you will. That might be a strong word, but I saw him. He was saying a lot of stuff about Israel, and he brought up Jonathan Pollard, the Israeli spy who was in the Navy, I think, in America. And he spent decades in American prison for spying and giving the Israelis secrets. He's back in Israel now, by the way. He was released and he went back to Israel. And I looked and I saw that he was joining in with that conservative trend attacking Israel. And I'm no defender of Israel, but I think people got to be smarter. You can't follow the crowd, man. You got to wonder, if everybody's doing this, you got to ask yourself, why now, right? Why now? And I was explaining to him, because he's blaming Israel. He said Israel was America's greatest enemy. And I pointed out to him that, you know, Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, 35 years before Israel was even formed. And that was the biggest betrayal to American sovereignty and the American people. And to my knowledge, Woodrow Wilson was not Jewish, right? And I also pointed out to him that, you know, Theodore Herzl, who is the father of modern Zionism, was an atheist, and many suspect to be an occultist. And yes, Larry Fink, the CEO of the biggest multinational company in the world, BlackRock, with an estimated value of $13 to $15 trillion, is Jewish. And Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, the #1 bank in America, is also Jewish, right? And there's only about 10 million Ashkenazi Jews in the world. But they are overrepresented in similar positions throughout the world. Now, what does that mean? So when I look at them, right, now they say they're Jewish, but I don't see anything Jewish about them. They don't wear yarmulkes, they don't have beards, they don't observe the Sabbath. They may even eat pork. I had dinner with a Jewish producer, Don Sikorsky. He did a lot of the BMF, one of those that, you know, they love doing urban content. And we went to a Cuban spot, and he ordered a Cuban sandwich, whatever it's called, and it comes with ham. And he was eating it. I didn't say anything. I was like, yo, shit. Like, are these people observant? Do they practice? When you say Jewish, are you talking about a nationality? Are you talking about a race? Are you talking about a belief? Or are we conflating all of these things into one? Because the people, whenever people start pointing out the wrongs that Jews do, they don't seem to be the people that are worried about the spirituality of it all. You know, it almost comes to mind the quote from Revelations that there's those who claim to be Jews, but they are not. They are the synagogue of Satan, right? Now, a lot of people who are just caught up in race, they will think that that means that these white Jews ain't the real Jews. No, it means that there are people who are telling you that they are one way and they're doing something else. Now, if people would make that argument, I could accept it a little better. But the blanket indictments of an entire demographic, I'm kind of wary of that, because that's what happens to us. Because it happens to us so much, we got to be careful not to do the same thing to other people. And dig deep, because there is something there, but we got to get a better understanding of what's going on and not just be, you know, careless and reckless with our accusations. Candace has a cute face. That helps. It's gotten cuter. I don't know if she got Botox or whatever, but she's doing her hair now. I don't know about that. Before all of this stuff about Israel, Candace used to talk about pop culture and the things women are typically interested in. I think her audience is mostly women. I don't think so, William. I don't. I know anytime I used to criticize Candace, only white men came out to defend her. Like, yo. Yeah, it was like, man, they was ready to, you know, like, meet me in the parking lot or something. Why have Jews been kicked out of so many countries in the past? I've seen the quote. I never fact checked it. I think they said 109 countries. The short answer, when things get tough in any country, people start looking for someone to blame. And maybe the blame is justified. I don't know. But I just know that right now in America, we're blaming immigrants, undocumented aliens. They're the boogeyman. Round them up, separate families, snatch fathers from the kids. It don't matter. These are the bad guys, right? In New York, under Mamdani, the rich people, they're the bad guys. So I think when times get hard, finger pointing starts. And if you're a minority, then you can't hold the line. You're going to have to pack up and get the hell on out of there. Think about it. If there's only 10 to 11 million Ashkenazi, and the Ashkenazi are the ones that people really have a problem with, because the Larry Finks and Jamie Dimons and all the prominent Jews, the Rothschilds and all of these people, they are of Ashkenazi descent. They are not Sephardic. They are not Mizrahi. I forgot what the Indian Jews are called, but they're not those guys either. They're not Falashans. They're none of that. Or Ashkenazi. In Israel, the power of Israel is with the Ashkenazi. The founders of Israel are Ashkenazi. And they almost had to force the other Jews, the Jews who lived in the Middle East among Arabs, the Mizrahi Jews, they had to damn near force them, even the Indian Jews. They had to convince them to come to Israel because they was good living where they were, and they were practicing Judaism. So think about this. The Zionists, many of whom were atheists, had to go find authentic Jews who were living a Jewish lifestyle and convince them to come to Israel to legitimize the state of Israel. And that's the conversation nobody's having. I've seen Iraqi Jews talk about how the Israelis were causing problems between them and their neighbors in Iraq and Persia and Iran to get them to come to Israel. They had so many Yemeni Jews come to Israel, and they accused the Israelis of taking their children. Look up the Yemeni children affair. Like close to 5,000 Yemeni children just disappeared. The speculation is that they were taken and given to Ashkenazi families who needed kids. That doesn't sound right to me, but that's the excuse. Of course, there's always the whispers of blood libel and these things, but that's part of the reason why when somebody, cojones, that's one of the accusations against Jews in Europe about the children, what they would do with the children and so on and so forth. And I'm not going to repeat it here, but you can look it up yourself. Now, I don't know if any of this stuff is true, but I know between 1948 and 1955, like 5,000 Yemeni children disappeared. And they were Jewish in Israel, separated from their parents and never connected again. Now, if their parents were living in Israel and they were separated from their parents in Israel, what are the odds that they never see each other again? Where we at? Did I miss something? Why had you, okay, Kevin, yeah, I agree. I don't understand how folks can see Mamdani background and say, hey, I'm voting for him. Because they just want to hurt people. It doesn't matter. Misery loves company. Mamdani cannot do any of the things he says he's going to do. They don't care. They just want to see people who's doing better than them hurt. And that's it. Hurt people, hurt people. They feel like, those people who have more than them have it at their expense. And it's just hard, man. It's a hard pill to swallow, but You cannot make bad decisions. And then when it comes time to deal with the consequences, blame other people. That's just not right. That's just not right, you know. If your parents didn't have a plan for your life, you can't expect strangers or the government to. Like when people think about having children, do they think down the line like, yo, this is the world I'm bringing my child in, my son, my daughter. What kind of preparation am I going to give them? Am I just going to give them an iPad when they turn 3, tell them to play some games while I continue on with, my second childhood? Like, it's a serious responsibility. And the reality is a lot of people's parents failed them. And they don't want to blame their parents, or maybe some of them do, but they'll blame strangers. The guy I was having an exchange with on X, he said, my generation, we failed his generation. What he really wanted to say is my mother and father failed me, but he didn't have the courage to say it. Because everybody his age is not doing bad. And everybody my age didn't drop the ball. And ultimately, social media is given an outlet for feminine men who just whine and complain. So I had to tell the story about in 2004 when I was down bad and I saw the gentleman from Mississippi, a trucker. He was kidnapped in Iraq. And, the insurgents had him. And they were like, yo, they had the guns on him and he's sitting in the doorway of the car, pickup truck, wherever they had him. And he's saying, please, Mr. Bush, please get me home safe, end this war and blah, 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 blah. All right, so I saw that and I was thinking to myself, man, I might be able to make some money over there, because I knew once they showed him, people were going to be scared and they were going to pay even more money. Come to find out, they were paying like $250,000 tax-free. I was thinking about going, right? I talked to some friends. My man Babyface had got deported. He was in London. And my other homie, Talib, he just came home. He had done like 10 years in the feds. I told him my plans. Talking to my man in London. He's in Holland now, in Amsterdam. And both of them said, look, man, if you serious and you going to go, shit, we'll meet you over there. And they didn't even know what the other one said, right? And the reason why I shared that story is because I feel like when things are really bad for a man, right, and he ain't working with nothing, sometimes he's going to have to take a chance, man, some kind of way to change his circumstances. But what he ain't going to do is get on social media and start blaming everything in historical, occurrences and systemic racism. And man, listen, all those things is going to be there anyway. You still got to figure it out. And when you start talking and complaining too much, to me, that's not very manly, because that's like showing the world how helpless you are, how helpless you must feel, because you can't put together a plan, because you just want to whine like a bitch so loud until somebody feels sorry for you and say, hey, man, come on. You want somebody to be Captain Save-A-Ho because you acting like a hoe. And that's how I see it, and that's how I put it out there. For sure. Look, the world ain't fair, man. We're not going to have the same outcomes. Some of us will never have a nice car. We'll never have a nice home, some of us. But you got to play the hand that you're dealt and stop worrying about everybody else's hand. Focus on your hand, man, and play it good. I don't understand how folks, oh yeah, it is expensive. So how do you explain Floyd? I lost track. William, you got to bring me up to speed. I don't know what you're talking about. Jews have been pawns in the globalist. I think so. That's my deep suspicion. I think they're set up, and I think some bad things are going to happen to them in the near future. That's my thoughts. I'm looking at it. I understand why people are blaming them, but I don't think people are looking deep enough. I was hoping LeBron announced this was his last season. Man, he might not be able to stop till his knees give out. They want us to believe Puff, Jay-Z, and Beyonce a billion years, yet they have to continue to do world. I've been saying that for the longest. Taking their kids on tour. They got Blue Ivy out there dancing now. At what point do you stop? You know? At what point do you stop? You see, because if they're not on stage, they don't have any value. They're no longer needed. And that means everything that was given to them is taken back. No, nobody in Detroit speaks on John James, man. John James is a Republican. Detroit is so Democrat, they don't even have Republican candidates. John James lives outside of Detroit. While I was getting my car done, I read that in 20 years there'll be major shortages. They won't need the tradesmen though, Kev. That's where the automation comes in. What was the first political or global action that made you look at people beyond their surface appearance and look deeply into their motives? 9/11. 9/11. 9/11 was the biggest, that was the event. It had an effect on me because I was in New York. I actually saw the towers burning from downtown Brooklyn. I looked at the news. I saw the man and the woman jump holding hands. I turned the TV off. My girlfriend at the time worked at Bound. I think it was on 375 Hudson Street, if I'm not mistaken. So I would drive past, I would be down in the area, Chambers Street, where the towers were. You could smell it like months after. And then there was the story about the dancing Israelis and the this and the that and the inconsistencies and finding Muhammad Atta's wallet intact, his passport, intact. And then there was all the videos showing what looked like a controlled demolition. And there was the collapse of building World Trade Center 7, number 7, that wasn't hit by any plane and collapsed right in its footprint with a warning in advance, it's about to blow. All of these buildings collapsed in their footprint. Yeah. So you started wondering what's really going on. And who is the enemy, It's like that old Walt Kelly quote. We have met the enemy and the enemy is us. So I put in a job application with BlackRock today. Hey man, you probably get it. They said they bought like 40% of the one family homes that was on the market. BlackRock is driving up the price of houses in America. Someone said, and I don't know if they did it, right? Please don't sue me, BlackRock. But someone said that they buy the houses cheap and sell them to themselves at a higher price to raise the value of the comps in the area. And it's a way how they manipulate the market. When you understand how wealth is generated, there's a lot of market manipulation. And when you got money, you can do these things. So you can put out a lot of money up front at a loss because you're going to make it back in the end. Why do you consider the Federal Reserve the biggest betrayal? Well, it was signing off on the Federal Reserve that America no longer controlled its money. And like Amschel Rothschild said, give me control of a nation's currency and I care not who makes the laws. So the control of the currency was given to the banksters. And since 1913, William, the US dollar has depreciated 96%. The national debt in 1913 was $2.9 billion, not trillion, billion dollars. Today it's 37 trillion, 112 years later. So we're saddled with all this debt, and we have to work harder and harder to buy the same things we used to buy. And it's been ongoing since 1913. Also, William, because we no longer controlled our money supply, we had to be involved in all these wars because the people who controlled the money said so. Beginning with World War I. All these international wars that had nothing to do with America. It's America doing the bidding of the banksters, the same banksters that Woodrow Wilson gave control of our money supply to. BlackRock was getting into the utility business. They probably are. They're going to own everything, man. A lot of Jews are non-practicing and are atheists. See, I'm going to tell you this. I don't think they should be calling themselves Jews, right? Because they're practicing something. They say they're atheists. I don't believe that's what they are. They believe in something. It just ain't the right thing. Candace is a fox, yeah. I hear that, John. Putin kicked out one of those Rothschilds. I mean, I hate to say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Putin is the next one to go. I wouldn't be surprised. It looks like he's pushing back, but who knows? He could be in on all of this too. It could be all orchestrated. See, I try not to put too much thought into what we're seeing on the television. I don't know if it's theater, if it's legitimate, but one thing I do know is that I can't do nothing to stop it. It was for the infrastructure and energy strategy. A lot of companies are pivoting. These companies pay well. High pay in sweatshops, but I stay in the industry. Oh man, I was watching it something just though about down in Texas in the oil and gas industry, the toxic water. They say for every barrel of oil they extract from the shale, they get like 4 or 5 barrels of toxic water. The water is radioactive. It has all kinds of carcinogens in it. It's like, and they have to pump it back in the ground. And when they pump it in the ground, it's causing a lot of earthquakes in the basin where all of that oil is coming from. It's amazing. So the fracking or whatever, it doesn't seem to be good, but yet they say it's why the oil is still under $70 a barrel right now. That it should be higher, and that the Saudis are just waiting for us to run out of that fracking oil that's becoming more and more expensive to produce. And that could be the impetus for why we're about to go into Venezuela. Could be. I had a coworker who was a Persian Jew, and I was joking with him about the Jewish slang names for blacks, and he said, "We're not those Jews, those are the European." Correct. That's right. Because in Yiddish, they would call blacks Schwarzers and all that type of stuff. Yeah. They're very different. And the European Jews are also the ones with the Talmud. Do you know they had the Ethiopian Jews who were isolated practicing Judaism in Ethiopia for thousands of years? The Ashkenazi told them they weren't Jewish enough and had to teach them how to be Jewish, their kind of Jewish. And if you look at it, there was a scandal that they was utilizing birth control on the Ethiopian Jewish women without their knowledge. Think about that. Think about what's going on over there, you know? Not to do the poor me routine, but as I shared before, oh wow. And Search, what's up? 12 or 13, and it wasn't until this year my parents failed me big time. Man, bruh, that is the truth for a lot of people. Their parents failed them. And they blaming the world. They're mad at the hand that they were dealt. And they have every right to be mad at the hand that they were dealt. Because a lot of times, like yourself, at the age that you were, what could you have possibly done to deserve any of that, right? But yet that was the hand that you were dealt. And what I see a lot is that so many of us, we take our personal issues and make it a collective problem. Like everybody's suffering from it, and the ones who aren't suffering from it were the perpetrators of it. And sometimes, you know, your reality is just your personal reality. And it's something you're going to have to, you know, navigate, reconcile on your own. And a lot of people have weak fathers. And it's unfortunate because a lot of women, and I'm not saying this is the case with your mom and dad because I don't know them, but a lot of times women choose weak men because they want to be in control. But then when they're in control, they got to deal with the world. And a woman needs a strong man to deal with the world because a woman can't deal with the world. James Brown said it. He said, man, this is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman. Men and women are supposed to work together. They're supposed to complement each other. But when you go against natural order, then you know you get unnatural outcomes. Yeah, they do get on your nerves. They get on my nerves too, Donita. They are helpless news. Yo, man, I'm down to help anybody if they try to help themselves, you know? If they serious about it. I can't see somebody in the fight to save themselves and doing everything and not help them if I can. You know? Just be like, hey, it ain't got nothing to do with me. Nah. I want to salvage anybody that got some fight in them. Yeah, I really feel that way, Colton. I feel like before you embark on a career in crime, join the military. Of course, another argumentative guy said, well, yeah, and then you could just be an international criminal. Look, what's the solution? Go commit crimes and go to prison? Get killed? Kill somebody? You know? Yeah, Moomin, you like that, huh? You like when I talk my shit. How do you explain the lifestyle of Floyd? First of all, it took me a while to give Floyd his props. And it had nothing to do with him being in the ring. You know how he fought in the ring. It was always what he represented outside of the ring. I think Floyd, he understands that spending money and largesse is a way of attracting a certain caliber of people. Why he wants to attract that caliber, I don't know, but that's what he wants to do. Floyd is a big supporter of Israel. He's been running around with the snapback on, with the 6-pointed star on it. I think he's just, in my opinion, sucking up to him. Richard Schaefer, who's a Jew from Switzerland, is now his business partner and has replaced Leonard Ellaby, who was with him the whole way. Not that that's a bad move, I get it. Schaefer ran Golden Boy. So Floyd knew Schaefer from back then. Schaefer's actually a really smart guy. I don't know if he's outlived his usefulness, but Floyd has a way that he's going to try to endear himself to black people by talking about money. Because more than anything, I'm generalizing here, right? A lot of black folks have just been caught up in money. The celebrity worship turned into money worship. And that's why it's important to always mention this one's a billionaire, that one's a billionaire. Like they pay for those rankings on the Forbes list, whoever their PR team is, And because if you hear somebody's a billionaire, it means you're going to go buy their clothing brand or something. You're going to give them even more money. You're going to do all of this and then turn around and vote for Mamdani, who hates the rich. It's so conflicted. And it's just like one big psyop, one big mind fuck. And Floyd is part of it. Floyd is normalizing overindulgence and wastefulness. He's popularizing it, So I don't approve of it. I don't. That's not to say you can't have nice things, but it looks like Floyd has a problem. The whispers I hear is that he has a gambling problem. And gambling is dangerous. Because if you got a drug problem, there's only so much drugs your body can take. If you got $100 million, you're not going to use $100 million worth of drugs. You'll die, but you're not going to use $100 million worth of drugs. But if you gamble, you can gamble it away. And that may have a lot to do with why he does the exhibitions. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking, Word on the resilience of man. When I lost my job, the first thing my mom and aunt asked me was I the only black person on the team or the only black person fired? I was like, I need to focus on my next move and not the motives of the people who terminated me. Yeah, man, because first of all, Justo, like for me, what I do in every situation, the reason why I'm so driven is not because I love money. It's because I don't take anything for granted. I understand that things may be going good today, but anything could change at any moment. So I hedge my bets. And I try to have disparate moves in place where I can, but they're not connected. In other words, if there's some contamination with one venture, it doesn't spill over to the other one, Yeah. I don't take anything for granted, man. And because of that, I stay pushing. 9/11 was a satanic sacrifice. I won't argue against that. It was used to model hell, Dante's Inferno. The role of mysticism in a lot of what goes on escapes people because they don't even believe in God. So they think if you talk about the unseen, you're dealing with hocus pocus stuff, But the reality is, just in July, there was they claim it was a practice run of the sacrifice of the red heifers. And they did it in Samaria. And that is the ritual they're supposed to do before they do the rebuilding of the temple, the third temple. And that's going to be a big point of contention because it's on the same site as the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And that's one of the holiest sites in Islam. So when you combine what has been going on in Gaza with the rebuilding of the third temple at one of Islam's holiest sites, you can only imagine how fired up the Muslim world is going to be. Not the Muslim governments, but their own people. And I think the stage is being set for such a major provocation. They say they want to usher in the Messianic era when the whole world turns against the Jews. Well, it looks like their plan is, everything is going according to plan. And that's why I don't trust Candace and Tucker, because they seem to be fueling this plan as well. On cue. It's being done for a reason. Wait till the war starts with Iran, and it's starting probably before the end of this year. I can see how the matrix can come to pass with these new data centers. Yes, they are consuming a lot of natural resources. Yeah, they say Clinton balanced the budgets, but when he left in 2001, January, we had a 5.6 trillion debt, which is nothing compared to today, Orlando Martinez, what's up, brother? Well, thank you, and search. The people who believe what happened to Charlie was a hoax. That's interesting, William. I'll say this. I believe Charlie is dead. I believe Epstein is dead. I don't know if they died the way we were told or shown, but I don't think they're with us any longer. There's absolutely no reason to fake their death and keep them around. They serve no purpose after that, And you're only around as long as you serve a purpose. They asking me about the Jews today, Orlando. Floyd didn't become hated by the media. Well, they didn't really like him too much before that. Larry Merchant didn't really care for Floyd. Larry Merchant was Seth Abraham's attack dog, Negro wrangler. I forgot what his first name really was, but his last name is Kaufman. And Larry Merchant, it's funny when you see these guys, Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant and Al Bernstein, and these guys are experts on fighting. I bet that none of them ever had a fight in their life. See? And it's not, listen, man. There's people like Bobby Chiz, who used to be on Tuesday Night Fights. He's a white guy, but he knows boxing. He used to box. Where the fuck does Larry Merchant Max Kellerman. Where do these people come from? Where do they come from? What do Jim Lamb, what do they know about the fight game? See, and they get in position because they know people. That's it. Ryan Dawson, I'm going to check him out. The money attraction is strong. It's how these companies get you to trade the bulk of your life to earn money. People are trained to worship money, not realizing that the most important thing that they could ever have is their freedom. You know, like, imagine you're getting all this money, but every day there's a full itinerary for you that you don't really have a life. From the time you wake up at 8 o'clock, 8:30 you're at this radio station, 10:30 you're over here, 2 o'clock you got lunch with these people. Every day. You're living in a gilded cage. I'll pass. About the Gaza genocide, could be some type of human sacrifice ritual. They're saying a lot of the kids are turning up missing over there. Notice they're always mentioning children missing. Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica Kirk, she was involved in a scandal with missing children. She was running an operation called Romanian Angels, saving Romanian children. Melania Trump gave a letter to President Trump to give to Putin about, I think, 20,000 Ukrainian children that are missing, that they think Russia has. What is going on with all of these children that turn up missing in these conflicts? And it's not like 20, 100. It's tens of thousands, almost as if somebody's going around collecting them. For what? Became an atheist, moved to the Bay Area, and too much was revealed to me, and repented against my pride and ego. Asked for forgiveness with my doubt in him. It's so obvious, yet I was so blind. Well, John, a lot of times, and I don't know your situation, but arrogance is a hell of a thing. When you start thinking you did everything, and you start taking credit for everything, not realizing how small and insignificant we all are in the grand scheme of things. But yet, because things worked out for us in some small, minute capacity, I might add, we just think we're the big deal. You know, like it's easy to get lost with yourself like that. I absolutely believe in God, Hendricks. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking at my YouTube people. Man, everybody on YouTube, please download the ScoonTv app and visit ScoonTv every day. Everybody on Rumble, Twitch, download the ScoonTv app. You don't have to give me any money. The app is free. You can become a paid subscriber if you like. But I think you should at least share the content that you like. Which God do you serve? The Most High. Do you think what's happening in Gaza is a genocide? I think the more appropriate term is ethnic cleansing. That's kind of like semantics, William. You know, that's like the Nazis could have said it wasn't a genocide. It was ethnic cleansing. Ain't they kind of like the same thing at some point? Black Lives Matter suing Soros company saying they were supposed to get 35 million. Good luck with that. My dad was a Mason and called me crazy, but I believe I was passed around as a son. Wow. Again, I can't speak to that in search. I think I saw where they said that Emmett Till's mother was an Eastern Star. We know Trayvon Martin's father was a Mason. I'm not going to say that, you know, you're totally wrong, but I'd have to know more. Like, what did your dad get? What did he get for it? Is he fabulously rich or something? Like, what was he given in return for that? You know, if that is your theory. Children are the next generation. All right, Orlando, you think it's simple, huh? So are they killing the children? What are they doing with the children? Where are the children growing up? Are they wiping their memories clean of their childhood? What's going on with them? You say you think the kids are being used as a sacrifice. Man, it's some dark stuff going on in the world. This is why abortion has been a holocaust to Americans in particular. People of color, wake up. The first thing Hamas attacked was children. Ah, Orlando, I don't know about all that stuff. Candace says she has activated her dead man switch. Uh-oh. So what she's threatening, if something happens to her, she's going to release a case of evidence. Because we know what the dead hand option is. If you kill Putin or do a decapitation strike in Russia, it's already set where they can launch thousands of nuclear missiles on its own, programmed. She sent her most trusted people copies of information on Charlie Kirk. And I suppose if they see something happen to her, they're going to step right up and be like, I'm next on deck. I don't know about that. I really don't. Yeah, you're giving me all kinds of general theories and applying them to specific situations. Orlando, you cannot explain to me what happened to the 5,000 Yemeni children between 1948 and 1953, I think it was. You can't explain that. Nobody knows what happened to the 20,000 that left Ukraine. If Melania Trump is asking for them back, that means she thinks they're alive. Nobody can explain what's happening to all the Palestinian children that disappeared. You have these nice, surface level explanations, but there's something else going on here. Tens of thousands of children are disappearing in war zones, and they're not being blown to smithereens. They're being collected. Putin was putting away some money a while back in case there was a coup. Yeah, he can put away the money, but where's he going to live? Where will he be safe? In what country? Sometimes money alone ain't the answer. Sex trafficking. That's one possibility for sure. See, we're getting close now. Yeah, Orlando, you still on that general topic though. We got specific situations here. For sure. UK missing children. Man, do you know, Orlando, 440,000 children go missing in America every year? Where are they? Dig into the UK missing children that went to the countryside with the Queen and came up missing. I mean, there's the Boys Town scandal with the orphanage. Well, they didn't disappear, but a lot of the boys claimed they were going to the White House for illicit purposes when George Herbert Walker Bush was there. Netanyahu is saying Iran might nuke us. Sounds like a threat. I don't believe that it's a threat. I don't believe it's a threat, news. I think that it's a lead off to another 9/11. The same people who did 9/11 are going to be the ones who nuke, probably a dirty nuke in a major city somewhere. Not exactly a major city, but near a major city. I think it's coming. We got to have someone to blame to get Americans mad at, angry, to justify the response that's going to come. For sure. And I'm sure there's going to be enough evidence to convict whoever the intended culprit is. There always is. If you want to hide somebody and play. Again, Orlando, you're the master of general, sayings and ideas. But we got specific situations here, and you can't explain them away with these type of cliches. It's human trafficking. Okay, I can go with that. No, it's hard for you to elaborate because you don't know, Orlando. Let's just keep it a buck. You don't know where those children are. You don't know. And you just refuse to say that because you're trying to fit it into the context of what your beliefs are. Because you stand on your beliefs. And we all have some beliefs because we don't know everything. But you know nothing about this. And it's okay to say that. Be like, I can't answer that question. I don't have the answer. It's okay to say that. Rather than to keep rambling on with this that doesn't do anything. The cartels have got into human trafficking. Well, everybody's kind of doing human trafficking. And they're doing a lot with these kids, but a lot of these kids will never be seen again. A lot of these kids will never be seen again. I believe some are definitely being sex trafficked, for sure. Because that seems to be another perversion of powerful people. The sex trafficking of minors. But I don't think some of these children will ever be seen again. And I'm asking what's happening to them and why. 440,000, Google it. 440,000 children disappear in America every year. I'm sure some of them resurface. I wonder how many don't. 20,000, Melania Trump said, in Ukraine. History has shown 5,000 in Israel between 1948 and 1953 from one community, the Yemeni Jews. Look it up. The Yemeni affair. Look it up. The Yemenite children affair. Look it up. And on and on and on. So all around the world, children are disappearing in large numbers. And we're going to pretend like there's some kind of, normal explanation for this. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Where we at? What we got here? And as far as abortion, I mean, it's crazy, right? Because Orlando said this is why abortion has been a holocaust to Americans, in particular people of color. Well, I'm not a fan of the people of color thing But I'll say this. Black people make up 13% of the population. And 8 of the 13% are women. But only 3% of the women, out of the 13%, 3% of the women, keep in mind 13% is everything, black men, women, and children. 8% are black females, and 3% are black women who are of the age of ovulation. They can ovulate. Those 3% are responsible for 40% plus of the abortions in the country. Think about that. Now we cooking. Now we cooking Costello. Yes, indeed. Now we cooking. Hendrix, you got everything I said, Hendrix? Go research it with the sources you trust. Research it with the sources you trust. Definitely demonic sacrifices going on. You know, it's amazing that the average person doesn't believe in God. They think that, you know, that's a fairy tale, blah, 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 blah. They don't believe in that mysticism exists. They don't believe any of that. And that's fine. You don't have to believe in anything. But I'll tell you one thing. The people who hold dominion over you, who rule you, they believe in these things. And you have to wonder why they're in that position in the first place. How did they get there? I remember during Trump's first presidency, LeBron said the president was someone he would look up to. We need to normalize looking up to regular people because we don't know who these people really are. No, we don't know who any. Listen, man. You know, I got blinders on. I'm like the racehorse. I hear all these things. Some of it is true. Some of it is very tragic. Some of it is helpful. But at the end of the day, what I'm focusing on is running my race, man. For any doubters, pray and ask God to speak to you in a way in which you can hear him. Watch what happens. Amen. In search. Amen. Amen. Organ harvesting. Oh yeah, Donita. Yeah, that too. I mean, Xi Jinping and Putin was heard on a hot mic talking about living to 150 years old. They say organ harvesting is a big thing in China. So that is definitely part of it. Absolutely. And you know those children, they got really good organs. Those kidneys, heart, all that. The best. It's a cold world we live in, man. Cold, cold world. Absolutely. Nothing but Khazarian fake converts. Oh man, I ain't even touching that one. Look, the Khazars. I read that book, The 13th Tribe. Yeah, I did. I don't know what to make of it, you know. The Khazarian Empire, blah, blah, blah. It's like there's so much information out there. Some of it could be real. Some of it, you know, could be interesting. But ultimately, man, I'm trying to figure out how to protect myself spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, in this world of chaos that we're in. And we're always under attack at all times. media tries to minimize organ harvesting. Listen, someone said that it's dangerous to even put on your driver's license that you're an organ donor, because they might not try to save you. Look, I don't know how true that is. I mean, it's not funny, but the things that go through people's head, when I see that, I'm just like, people know something's wrong. They may not know what it is, but they know something is wrong. They definitely know something is wrong. Yeah, what we got? I think we got time for one more question. What we got? It's 9:28. Who's going to take it home? Somebody drop something. What you got for me, Hendrix, on YouTube? Somebody drop something. Oh, thank you, Donita. You like when I give folks the business on X? Look, they must like it too because they keep coming. They must like it too, man. Where'd everything go? It looked like something disappeared. All right, well, I guess that's it. Costello, I saw, I saw what you said. I saw what Donita said. Man, it was real. See you guys next week. For everybody watching, we're on whatever platform you're on. ScoonTv.com. Check us out. All exclusive content. Download the ScoonTV app if you haven't already. Every Tuesday, we do the live stream. However, most people who watch the live stream, they catch the recorded broadcast of it. You can go in the archives and watch the old live streams. You have that option with the app. And please, if nothing else, if you see something in the app, on the website that you like, share it. Share it on Facebook. Share it any way you can. If nothing else, help me spread the word. ScoonTV is an independent media source. It's on its own designated server. I have no censorship. I have no sponsors. I'm paying for all of this out of pocket, So support any way you can. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good night.